On behalf of the New Mexico Department of Health, take COVID-19 precautions. Wash your hands frequently for 20 seconds. Don't touch your face. Use a tissue or your elbow to catch your sneeze or cough. Avoid large gatherings and close contact with sick people, especially if you are elderly or high risk. If you have a cough, fever, or shortness of breath, stay home from work or school. Do not go to the ER or doctor's office without first calling the coronavirus hotline. And avoid all unnecessary out-of-state travel. Help prevent the spread of COVID-19.
It's 8:26 Monday morning here on KSJE. You're listening to the Scott Micklin Morning Program, and we're back with our streaming video now so we can continue our conversation with Ingrid Gilbert, who is joining me from the Farmington Convention and Visitors Bureau. Ingrid, thank you for standing by while I rebooted everything over here. Appreciate it.
Yes.
This is such a visual topic that I knew we couldn't do the interview if I couldn't get things back up and running today. So I appreciate that. So we were talking about planning for this virtual art walk in the area and reaching out to local artists and having them send you, I guess, pictures of their work so that you could compile them on the Convention and Visitors Bureau website, right? And that's what you've done.
Right. We have. We worked with the Three Rivers Art Council or Art Center,
right?
Artifacts, Studio 116, and Wall Art Gallery have been great partners with us in getting the word out, and they've kind of acted as a clearinghouse for some of the artists and have submitted the work for them. And then also Flo Trujillo has been a great partner through this in getting the word out about this to the artists and some of the additional things that she's helping us with. She's been a great asset.
Terrific. And of course, Flo, I know, is very involved with the Northwest New Mexico Arts Council, and so I would imagine she's helping in that capacity as well.
Yes.
Very good.
And she was able to secure funding to help artists manage shipping, and so we have galleries. If we have artists that are unable to manage some of the shipping on their own, they are handling that for them, and then Flo has, again, secured funding for that to assist with those transactions, which is a great help. That was one challenge when we started this. We knew that not a lot of artists had online storefronts, so to take it to a virtual art gallery, we really had to think about how to manage those transactions.
Sure, that makes sense. And so we do have a little bit of we have your website up so we can show some of the artists who are involved with the virtual art walk as we kind of talk a little bit about them and what's available. And I guess the big part of this too is certainly the variety, right? Because you kind of opened it up to almost anything, didn't you?
Yes, we did. We have a little bit of everything from paintings to calligraphy, mixed media, quilted wall hangings. When you go through it, there's something for everybody in there. No
kidding. That's very true. And so this is and it's running from, it started on the 17th, right? Started last week and will go through May the 1st, right? You have this available.
Right. Yeah. We're taking that initial, and then maybe we'll continue this part for the Spring Art Walk. We'll run it through May 1st, and then we're already beginning to look at how we could maybe continue that later on and to cover some of the artists that would have entered into the Riverfest Fine Arts Festival also. Right.
Good point. And so we're seeing on the screen, of course, scrolling by some of the artists who are, or all of the artists who are part of this virtual art show. And then, of course, from the main website, there's a link to view more of that artist's work. And so you mentioned that each one could submit how many pieces?
Right, so they can submit up to 5 pieces, and so when I began to look at that initially, I was just going to put everything up into one page to look at. But I think I underestimated the number of submissions that we would have, and so in order to house just that sheer number of imagery and to control speedboat time, we broke it out by each artist. So if you'll scroll through the list, you can select to view their work and then see up to 5 pieces per artist.
And again, a variety of things. I'm looking at paintings and photographs and jewelry and sculpture. I mean, it's really what a normal art walk would be, which is a lot of different types of art.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Yeah. And go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, too, that a lot of these artists, if not most of them or all of them, are offering their works for sale. I mean, that's how artists work, right? They need to get paid for their art. So a lot of these images, a lot of these items are available for purchase, which you mentioned you were helping with shipping and getting them help with figuring out how to do this in a remote way.
Right. And so that is, again, we wanted to be able to do that. We look at it as a great way, again, just to display the art and to have this fantastic virtual activity that people can take part in. But then also another big mission that we have with this is to help the artists and to encourage art sales. And we have already had people purchasing all weekend long. I was taking items down that had sold and replacing them. So we do, that's another big goal of this, is so that the artists can sell their work.
Right. That's awesome. And again, I imagine for the artists, they've got to be very appreciative of this effort to get their work out in front of more eyeballs and potential buyers for their work.
Yes, the response has been great, and that was, again, quite a treat last week to hear that, how much they appreciated the opportunity, and a unique event to do that. When you're used to doing something one way and we try to revamp it, I think once people, especially once they saw the page go up and they saw what it looked like, I was inundated with emails of people telling us how great this was. So I even myself didn't exactly know how it would look until we went live on Friday.
Right. Now this is a little bit out of the normal scope of work, I guess, for the Convention and Visitors Bureau, or am I missing the mark here? This is relatively first time you've done this, I know, particularly, but usually you're doing other stuff.
Right, and so that is, our focus is to bring people from outside of the area in. Tourism is where we work and play a majority of the time. But the great thing about this is that this allows us at a time when we're really not able to ask visitors to come to our community. This is a great time for us to be able to let potential visitors see what our community has to offer as far as an art community. And so we know that that's great. And I saw guide requests come in through the weekend, people that were on the website doing both, going into the website to see the art, but then also taking the time to look throughout the rest of the website to see and look at Farmington as a future destination.
Right. And of course, a lot of this artwork that we're seeing scrolling by are maybe landscapes that aren't too far from where we are, or great iconic scenes and sites around the area. So I would imagine maybe folks who see this on the Artwalk then say, I would like to go maybe check out that area where these artists are inspired in person someday.
Exactly. And we know that through photography and paintings. You can't go into any of the local businesses that house artwork from local artisans. You're going to see our landscapes there, and we know that that is one of the most compelling pieces to bringing people here. We have beautiful, wide open spaces. They're perfect for recreation, whether that be actively off-roading, mountain biking, hiking, or just finding a great spot to watch sunset, sunrise, the upcoming meteor shower, anything like that. So we know that the outdoors are great. They inspire our artists, and they inspire people to come and visit our community.
Indeed, they do. And so I want to share the website, of course, for our radio audience who isn't being able to see all the great pieces of art scrolling by on the screen, but it is at the the Convention and Visitors Bureau's main website, farmingtonnm.org/virtual-art-walk. But you can get to it from the main page too, right?
Mm-hmm. And then again, if you follow us along on Facebook for Visit Farmington, and we'll have links throughout the week and throughout the event, as well as artist features. So.
Got you. And so, Ingrid, with the success apparently that this is having, does this mean that we may see more virtual events like this? What are you thinking?
I do. I think so. I mean, we adapted to our current situation and built this, and I am really excited to see, once we return to a state of normal, how we can continue to use this to support our local art galleries and local artist community.
Got you. And that is the key word there, when we return to a state of normal. And I know, as you've mentioned, a lot of the signature events that a lot of folks look forward to every year have had to be either canceled or postponed. And of course, your main job is to bring people to Farmington to enjoy all the amenities that we have here. And so my question would be, when this is maybe ramping down and when folks are feeling more comfortable to travel, Farmington may be in a pretty good spot as we talk about the place where outdoor lovers and families thrive to be able to get away from crowds and really explore some of these wide open spaces, even if we have to keep 6 feet away from each other when we do that.
Right. And you do. I mean, we really are a perfect destination for that self-isolating or keeping that social distance just because of the sheer size of our area and the public lands that we have here, from Chokecherry Canyon, Angel Peak, the Bistai Badlands. We really do have areas where you can get out and enjoy it and maintain that distance, which we all see. Even as locals, we know that, right? That's why we love to live here. We love the wide open spaces that we have here. And so we're hoping that as people begin to look at leisure travel again, that will be something that will entice them, that they'll begin to look for destinations like that where they can have those types of experiences.
Right. And you have always taught me that that you folks work maybe 6 months in advance. And so has this obviously has to have changed maybe some of your plans for that and maybe retooling some of your messaging and things like that of where to be in 6 months from now?
Yeah, because we really don't know, right? We don't know where that will be. And so we have had to adapt throughout the industry. We work very closely with our state partners and local partners trying to look at that, engage that messaging. And so it has been a change. And a big part of it is just planning for the future, making sure that we're top of mind, that people know that we're here. Again, just being very careful with that marketing messaging that we use right now.
Sure. And you mentioned to me that I know you're watching the website, you watch the Convention and Visitors Bureau Facebook page, Visit Farmington, and all of your other social media pages and accounts and things like that. So you know that there's activity and folks are reaching out and they're still interested in maybe coming here and learning more about the area. And so that's got to be a good thing, too, as you plan for the future, right?
Right. And it is, and it has been great. And we've seen a lot of inquiries about the Bistai, about some of the things that we have to see and do here. When people request a vacation guide off of our website, they ask, one of the questions that we ask them is, how soon are you planning to travel? Usually we see that around 1 to 3 months, and now we're seeing like 6 to 8 months when they're beginning, or even as far out as a year or more. But again, they're thinking about it. They're beginning to build that. When things return and they can begin to travel, where can they go? So they're requesting the guide or asking information about the area. So we know people are thinking about travel right now and hopefully planning for a future trip.
Sure. Well, I think a lot of folks, as much as we love our homes, are maybe tired of those 4 walls, so they kind of figure out, where are we going to go when we can go someplace, and why not the Four Corners area, why not Farmington, and see some of these great outdoor spaces that you've been showing us all this time. So that kind of makes a lot of sense, right?
Yes. It fits perfect with what we have there. And again, just hoping that we can continue to be top of mind and that people think of us as that destination when that time comes, because we have so much to offer when it comes to art, culture, history, the outdoors. We really do have a lot to offer leisure travelers.
Right. And from the state tourism department and things like that, is this kind of their same messaging as well, just to keep that top of mind awareness and to continue to talk about the benefits of visiting New Mexico and visiting our wide open spaces and things along that line? Because certainly, no offense to the theme parks and things like that, but that's a whole different environment.
Right. And as a state, we know that we have that's one of the main attractions that we have here, are some of those opportunities. And so it is. We do look at some of that messaging. I think timing is a key thing in what we have to do there. And I think a lot of us right now are really looking towards our state partners and within our community and how we can help at this time. And so I think we've found a lot of us reassessing what we do and how we work with locals and seeing how we can fill the needs of the current time also. So it's a balance, plan for the future, but then do as much as you can right now to help those people in your community and in your state.
Right, indeed. Well, Ingrid, before we go, I do want to share again the information about the virtual Artwalk and let folks be able to take a look at what we're talking about this morning. Again, it is on the Farmington Convention and Visitors Bureau's website at farmingtonfm.org, and we are scrolling some of the artists who are there, and you've gotten a lot of artists. Were you surprised by the numbers when you sent out the call for entries?
I really was. I don't know what I thought. I didn't really have a number in mind, but like I said, I think right now we have 40 artisans up. 5 pictures per artist. That's 200 images. And so when you think just even sheer gallery, what that would take square foot, I've never hung an art show, but that's a pretty massive space. So when you think about the fact that we're able to house that on one page and really be able to feature each artist, it's a really unique experience. So I hope we can continue to do this, again, when things return to normal. But I hope people just take the time to go through it and discover some of our local artisans. And it's a nice break. It really is. If you can go through, click on each artist, look at the work that they have. At times like this, it's healing. You can find inspiration, hope, and joy by immersing yourself in art. And that's so important right now, that we find those activities throughout our day as a family, as an individual, to have that break from your typical news feed.
I agree, and a great reminder of the beauty in our world of where you choose to look for it. So I think it's a great reminder.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that with us. And I imagine for these artists, though, again, your website, I mean, it's a pretty big deal. You get a lot of attention, a lot of clicks, a lot of eyeballs are looking at the Farmington Convention and Visitors Bureau website. So I imagine for some of these artists, they're maybe getting some additional exposure that they normally wouldn't have gotten in some of the other ways that they've been maybe marketing or things like that. This is a great boost for them.
Right, and it is, and I think it's reaching that out. I had a lot of people, when they were submitting art, were thinking that it would just be more local and even regional, and then they're finding they're a little surprised that they're getting inquiries from outside of the state, further distances, purchases from people in California, in Kansas, Oklahoma, and so it's great. Again, maybe new eyes, people that wouldn't have discovered some of these artists are now able to.
Right, and a great way, again, to highlight the talent that we have here in the local area. I know every time that there is an art walk or an art event, we always try to talk about just the talent, the raw and talent that we have here that is creating art and that rivals, I think, things that you would find in a gallery in a bigger place.
Right, and we do, and it's truly amazing. And I know that we have some truly talented artists, but just the sheer number of them and the entries that we have. Some of the submissions that I got over the weekend that I'll put up this week, it just keeps coming in. Very, very beautiful art and inspiring.
So you're going to be adding new artists, too, as this goes? It's going to be evolving and growing?
Yeah. So as an artisan sells a piece, I'll remove it and put it up. Or if they just want to rotate their inventory, I can do that also. So it's great for people to remember that it's, as a virtual event, it will continue to evolve. We'll add new artists. Artists will feature different pieces of work. So really it is something that, to do it justice, keep coming back. We want people to keep visiting the event because it will continue to change.
Right. Again, it is the virtual art walk. It is online at farmingtonnm.org until May the 1st. And the exhibits or the pieces of art will be changing, and they're all available for purchase. And I would say, too, if you buy from the artist directly, I imagine you're not paying as much as you would from a gallery in Santa Fe, for example.
Right. I was really kind of surprised at some of the price points. Again, I think we have things from like $7 up to closer over $4,000. So whatever your price point is, don't be afraid to pop in there and think that you can't afford a really beautiful piece of art, because I was surprised at some of the pricing, and it's just great. It's a great way to share Farmington with visitors, and a great way to highlight, again, like you said, some of our very talented local artists.
No kidding. That's very true. Well, Ingrid, I thank you for joining me this morning and talking a little bit about this great idea that is going on now, the virtual art walk from the Farmington Convention and Visitors Bureau, and also all the great work that you and the staff are doing to remind folks that we're here, and we look forward to seeing them when travel starts up again.
Yes, we do. We definitely want people we know it'll be soon. We can't wait to see people soon. Until then, this is a great way for us to let visitors explore our community.
Very true. Well, Ingrid Gilbert from the Farmington Convention and Visitors Bureau, thank you so much for joining me. This is the Scott Micklin Morning Program on KSJE, and the time is right now 8:45.
I'm Tracy K. Smith, and this is The Slowdown. years from now, we'll think of 2020 as the year of the coronavirus pandemic. And maybe in a generation or three, our grandchildren will read about this worrisome season in textbooks or on Wikipedia, the way many of us have lately taken